So, I don't know if you watched my live stream earlier today, but we got into reports about a bid being made for Antony. Apparently, Antony was on his way to Al Nassr, negotiations were ongoing, and we've got some further updates on that. £50 million for Antony. Al Nassr want João Felix and Antony. If the João Felix deal could go up to 44 million, and João Felix was the biggest flop on loan last season, and Antony did well on loan last season, United want 50 million. 50 million for Antony. Surely we don't get that. That would be absolutely ridiculous, but that would give us funds to move for a striker. We've had a lot of links to Benjamin Cesco today. Apparently he prefers us to Newcastle, according to some sources. He's open to United move. I still think Cesco will end up at Newcastle. I think Leipzig are maybe exaggerating our interest to sources to get a bigger fee out of Newcastle. But if we get 50 million for Antony, the funds is there to move for Cesco. We can't move for Cesco right now because we haven't got the funds for it. We can't move for Watkins unless the swap deal involving Garnacho happens. We can't move for Jackson unless the swap deal involving someone happens. If we get money for Antony, we can then move for our striker. There is still talk about Kobbie Mainoo to Spurs, but the way Amorim was speaking about Mainoo and his big plans, cannot see that happening. Lissandro Martinez injury update, and Nana could be back for the first game of the season. We're going to talk about that, Amorim's comments on the Man United squad, and more. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute roundup, where we round up all the latest Manchester United news into a 10-minute video for you guys. Every night throughout the transfer window, when there is news or relevant news coming out, I'll round it up in 10 minutes for you guys. So if you do enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe, hit the likes, and yeah, let's get into it. Al Nassr are interested in signing Antony. Again, this is a good source of information. Al Nassr signalled a purchase offer for the player, but has competition from European teams. Man United have asked for 50 million. So this follows the news that came out earlier from Santi that we'd made a bid. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of context on this whole situation and on this news story that is ongoing. So 2.5 days ago, Sky Sports reported that clubs in Saudi were interested in Antony. These reports then got confirmed that there is interest in Antony out in Saudi. Antony's agent came out yesterday and confirmed that Antony is open to a Saudi move. There is stuff ongoing and there's interest. All of a sudden, sources come out today that Antony's on his way to Saudi. Negotiations are ongoing. I don't know how credible those sources are. Santi, that has some credibility, talks about a bid. And obviously UOL, that has some credibility, is saying that Al Nassr are in fact interested in signing Antony, blah, blah, blah. United want 50 million. First things first, nothing from Ornstein, nothing from Romano. Even Ben Jacobs is well connected to Saudi, and he's not said anything yet. So first of all, off the bat, take everything with a pinch of salt until we hear further information on it. Second of all, these are better sources of information, but better sources of information also told us and Boomer was done 3 weeks before it was done, so we do have to take a pinch of salt. Will Man United get 50 million for Antony? No. Could they get a deal going up to 50 million for Antony? I doubt it, but possible, because Antony should be worth more than João Felix, because João Felix was awful on loan at Milan. Antony was good on loan at Betis. I think Antony wants Real Betis. I think Antony wants to stay in Europe. Antony wants to get in the Brazil World Cup squad. I think Antony is annoyed that Betis are going to wait till the end of the window and try and get him on loan, because there's a possibility Man United don't accept that and he's stuck at Man United and his chances of going to the World Cup are ruined. I think Antony's trying to force Betis into making a move. I think Antony will end up at Betis and he's maybe using Saudi to get that move, if I'm going to be completely honest. But Antony's agent has said and confirmed he's open to the move. Other sources are saying Antony's open to the move. And I don't think Al Nassr would be making moves if they didn't feel that Antony was open to the move. But something tells me that this is just too good to be true. Al Nassr coming in, giving us money for Antony, boom. I don't think we're going to get 50 million for Antony. I think we could get 40 million for Antony. We're not good at selling. Chelsea are good at selling. I think potentially we can get 40 million for Antony. I don't think we're going to get 50 million, if I'm going to be totally honest. I think he could go to Al Nassr. I think if Romano or Ornstein get on it, I'm more confident. But until we hear anything from Romano or Ornstein, I'm just going to assume this is a game to get Real Betis to bid up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, bringing in 50 million for Antony, if that does happen, would raise the funds for a striker. Like, Man United could be getting the money for a striker move. That striker move could be Cesco, it could be Jackson, it could be Watkins. We will talk about that. But I wanted to get into a few stories first. Lissandro Martinez will miss at least the first 3 games of the season. There was rumours a few months ago of Lissandro Martinez being back in December. There's now suggestions he will be back in September. Probably wouldn't be ready till October. but potentially we could see Lisandro Martinez as early as October. For me, our best back three would be Yoram, Martinez, De Ligt. I like Aiden Heaven, would like to see more of him, but I think Martinez is such a good player. And I know he struggled at first when Amorim first came in, but then I thought about the last 5 or 6 games Martinez had before his injury. The Fulham game was obviously a standout, obviously scored in that game versus Adama Traore, that seems to be his enemy. He was really, really good in those games. So I just want to see Leacher back as soon as possible, and I'm glad his recovery is going well. Amorim said that Xerxes and Mbumo aren't going to feature in the game versus Everton, which is a shame because they're 2 players I'd like to see, but we could see Mbumo, so not Everton, Bournemouth on Thursday, but we could see Mbumo on the Everton game. We could see Mbumo on the Everton game. There is reports coming out, and this is from Give Me Sport, so do take Give Me Sport with a pinch of salt. But there's talk that Tottenham do really admire Kobbie Mainoo's versatility and could make an offer. I think it'd be a difficult deal to do. I think, United aren't opposed to selling him. If a good bid came in for Mainoo, I think United upset. But the way Amram was talking about Mainoo, the way Mainoo played in the pre-season game, I get the impression we don't want to sell Mainoo. I think United were open to selling one of Mainoo or Garnacho a few months ago, and obviously Garnacho made that decision for them with his attitude. I don't think United would want to lose both in a single window, especially when, for me, Kobbie has always had the highest ceiling between him and Garnacho, and it's only come from Give Me Sport, which aren't exactly the most reliable. So yeah, let's get into news on Benjamin Cesco. Newcastle are ready to make an official bid for Benjamin Cesco to see what the player wants to do. Let's see if Man United try and do what Man United try and do on Cesco, if they want to try for this one, or if they decide to move for other targets. So we've been linked a lot to Cesco. There was a report that came out from what was apparently a good Leipzig saying that Cesco would prefer Man United to Newcastle. Right now, Newcastle can afford Cesco. They can afford to do a deal, and they're in talks with Cesco. Newcastle are the only team that are in advanced talks and negotiations with Leipzig for Cesco. United aren't. United are having conversations about Cesco internally. Manchester United are coming to try and make a decision about what striker they want to move for. But United haven't had negotiations with Leipzig for Cesco. Newcastle have. Right now, Newcastle are hands down winning the race for Cesco. They're ready to make an official bid. I think they're waiting for the green light from Cesco and trying to agree personal terms with Cesco. Then they will make their move. Now, Cesco was open to United. Maybe Cesco's trying to see if other offers come by. United having discussions. Who knows? If Man United don't sell anyone, we can't make a move for Cesco, and we can't compete with Newcastle. I think Cesco will go to Newcastle because we'd have to sell someone to make the deal happen. And it was also said that United would prefer someone that was Premier League proven with experience to be the number 9. I think Watkins is who we want. I think Jackson is second choice. I think Cesco is third choice. I think Cesco will go to Newcastle. I think Leipzig are making our interest sound bigger than it is to maybe get the best deal they can. But look, we're not out of the Cesco race. Romano keeps mentioning us in regards to Cesco. There's clearly interest there. We've had interest in him for a while. Vivo has a good relationship with him. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I'm saying unless we sell anyone, I'm not confident that this will happen, and I think he might just go and move ahead to Newcastle. Obviously, we thought Cesco was going to join Arsenal last year. He stayed at Leipzig another year. He was happy to stay at Leipzig another year. He's the type of guy that if he had a dream move and Man United said, we'll go for you next year, and his dream move was Man United, I don't know if it would be, maybe he'd wait another year at Leipzig. But I think Cesco would. I honestly think Newcastle's a better move for Cesco than Man United. I'm saying that as a Man United fan. I think we need experience. I think he could struggle us. I think he could be the next Zlatan. I think with Mbeumo and his crossing ability and Cesco's ability in the air, it could be brilliant. But I do think Newcastle might thrive better for Newcastle anyway. But his camp is in talks with Newcastle, but they can't rule out United. Can United not be ruled out because, Leipzig are making it known to Newcastle we have interest to scare them because of what happened with Cunha and Mbumo to get the biggest bid they can? Maybe. Or maybe United are going to make a move. Maybe United are going to make a hijack. I still think Cesco's Newcastle bound. I think we'll do something in regards to what happens with Garnacho if he goes to Chelsea and Villa. Maybe a swap with a striker. But I think, look, United could decide tomorrow they want to hijack the Cesco deal, get him to agree personal terms and like Mbumo, make him wait 7 weeks while we sell players to try and get the deal done. It's possible. I think he goes to Newcastle. He is open to move to United, and apparently he would prefer Manchester United, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, that is the latest on Cesco. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was more Amorim's comments on the players. One thing I noticed in the preseason game versus West Ham is we looked really physically good. And that's what I like to see. And Amorim said the most important thing is to build a bond between the players and prepare for the physical demands of the Premier League. The focus is to be ready for the first game of the season against Arsenal. And I like how Amorim speaks about the physical game demands of the Premier League. I think something that Erik ten Hag didn't address was physicality. He went for technical players, but I think Eric Ten Hag underestimated the physicality of the Premier League, while Ruben Amorim is saying how important it is. And we saw that physicality versus West Ham, and I hope we have that physicality when the Premier League season starts. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.